Hey, what's going on, guys? Big Duke here, coming to you once again to bring you the intro to the Hogsmen Podcast. I hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy during this crazy start to the year of 2021. Me, however, well, if it was any better, I'd be embarrassed. That's the old showbiz answer. Anyways, I hope you submitted your questions and your topics to discuss because Mike and Dev are about to call it on the fly here on the Hogsmen Podcast.
And now for the moment that you've all been waiting for. From the land of the rising sun to just north of the border, strong style meets street style right here on this podcast. Because you're listening to the Osaka Saint, the Saitama Superstar, the Mad Titan of Tokyo, the American Kaiju. And double your pleasure, double your fun, because right now you get two Hogsmen for the price of one. He's the hombre with no nombre, mi hermano from another mamo. He's the world's greatest Rudo, El Numero Uno.
That's right. You're listening to two of the three Hogsmen. Big Duke, not here tonight. Said he'll be here next week. But it's Wednesday night, January 13th. That's right, I said Wednesday night. And you're listening to another episode of the Hogsmen Podcast.
Hogscast coming at you.
Devin Sparks, what's going on, man?
Everything. The whole world is going on.
Wild place we live in right now.
Wild place we live in, yes.
So last week we recorded Tuesday night.
Yep.
And then Wednesday, all hell broke loose in DC.
It did.
Did you watch? So I was glued to the TV.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm watching history right now.
Yeah.
This will be in history books.
Yep.
Your daughter will be reading about it in
Yep.
history class, probably in 8th grade. Fucking nuts, man. Fucking nuts.
Pretty crazy shit. And I don't know what to think about it because I've seen so many things on each side of it. Like, the first thing I saw was what looked like police just like letting people in. Like they like pulled back the guardrails.
Yeah.
And like everyone just came in and I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? I like jumped out of my chair. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And everyone just goes like, oh, okay. And it looked like tourists all like showing up, like giving themselves their own tour, walking around like touching statues and taking dick pics with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did they do that? What in the world is going on here? Why isn't there more security, first of all? Like, they're certifying a vote on the most, contentious election.
Controversial.
Since like, what, the Civil War or some shit? How come there's not additional security there and police forces or whatever, and these people are just waltzing in and running around, got into the chamber, got into their individual offices? Like, bro, it was wild. But from so originally what I saw was them letting him in, and then I saw some stuff the other night after the fact that was like some balls to the walls, crazy Viking shit.
Yeah, so here's my, a lot of people were commenting on the Capitol Police, who their only job is the Capitol. They police that building, and that's it. That's what my neighbor, who's a federal employee, told me. But anyway, so I saw the video of the security guards kind of opening the gates, the barriers. Here's the deal. And from like my experience of having to work, security and handling large crowds and stuff like that. So here's my, a lot of people jump to the conclusion like, oh yeah, they're letting their friends in. They agree with them all. No.
I didn't think that.
Here's the deal. You have 5, 6 Capitol Police officers handling one section, right? All of a sudden you have tens, hundreds, thousands of people walking up to your gate, and you go, they're coming in.
Yeah.
They're coming in. We can stand here and try and fight them back, but guess what? We're hugely outnumbered. It's going to happen. So let's try and, just make it as safe as possible to, you got to look out for your own ass, right? They're like, we could sit here and try and keep them back, but it's a failed attempt.
Also, by this point, apparently, all those videos you saw of them climbing that wall to get in, they had already breached inside the building.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah.
It's basically at that point, it's either you're, like Mike said, either these people are coming in, so you have to make the choice. Do you want to get hurt or possibly die? Or do you want to let these people
And
get
one of the
in,
guys
and
did
then
die, right?
Something will happen.
A police officer did.
He got bludgeoned to death.
He got hit with a fire extinguisher. So he didn't get bludgeoned to death. Well, apparently what happened, I read about that. He got hit with a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Maybe went unconscious. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But he actually did walk away, and then later he died.
That's just terrible.
Probably from a result of the hit to the head. But and I'm not even talking about so they're storming, they're fucking climbing walls, falling off walls when all they had to do was walk 5 feet down and take the goddamn stairs up. But the thing is, those police that were out covering the perimeter, away from the front doors and the side doors and all that kind of stuff, they were just like, hey man, we got to let these guys through. And then you saw the police officers really kind of holding the fort in the doorways. But unfortunately, by then they had already busted in through the fucking windows and all that kind of stuff. And then, so when I was watching, it was on CNN, I was watching all the live coverage.
Right.
You only saw motherfuckers, climbing walls and hopping fences and all that kind of stuff. Later, a few days later, when you saw the real footage, of full
their handheld stuff going in.
Did you see the incident with the police officer that got crushed in the door?
No.
It's disturbing to watch, man. It's really
Was
disturbing.
it on accident or on purpose?
No. So you have a hallway full of pro-Trump people and then police officers, and they're clashing in a hallway basically. And then there was a doorway that they were trying to secure, and the police officer was caught in between the door. They were trying to hold one door shut, and he's got hundreds of people in one way and hundreds of people in the other way, and they're all crushing him. It's nuts, man. Nuts. And then they show the video of that chick from San Diego getting shot.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No.
There's
I try not to watch stuff like that.
I feel like you have to. Like I said, it's history, man. It was nuts, man. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. The video of the footage of her getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
So the Trump people, the pro-Trump people, the people that were storming the Capitol,
The protesters.
they're trying to get into a room.
Okay.
And you can see through the door. Kind of, there's a glass part, so you can see through the doors. And they're trying to bash it in. And on the other side of the door, you can see a pistol.
Oh shit!
And somebody yells, "Gun, gun, gun!" And then that girl that got shot. There's another view of her trying to get in through the door, and pop.
Damn.
Dude popped her, man. When somebody yells gun,
Get out of the way.
you fucking run.
So that was a Capitol Police person then, I guess?
That or Secret Service. Because I'm guessing, you had Secret Service because the vice president was there.
That's true. That's true. I didn't think about that.
It was nuts. The images of, on the floor, they're holding guns at the
Right. Yeah, I saw
towards
that.
the door, waiting for people to breach. It's nuts, man.
So, for me, I'm not pro-Trump at all. But when I saw this originally, to me, it still looked like protesters, all the way up to the gate, up to where they got to the gate. It looked like protesters. Even like I said, when I saw the cop let him in, I'm like, that was fucking dumb. I thought the same thing. Where I'm like, oh well, there's so many of them. Maybe they're threatening him. You can't hear the audio. Maybe they're threatening him, and he's just like, fuck it, it's not worth it, man. I got a kid and wife at home. I got to get out of here. So even when they're just dicking around, walking through the halls, from what they showed you originally, I was like, they're still protesters. They just they were let in, and they're like, okay.
The second they breach that,
They're
no longer protesters.
Yeah. Okay.
They've committed a huge crime.
Right. I understand. But from what I saw, you got the asshole and the stupid Viking hat, you got the guy, the dumb smile carrying away the podium like that. Cover your face, dog. If you're gonna do that, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Why would they? They're anti-mask, so why would they be wearing masks?
I know, but it's a crime, right? It's a crime.
Oh, big.
But my whole thing was, I was like, it still looks like protesters taking a little too far. But like I said, it wasn't until a couple days later when you saw all the real footage show up that I'm like, oh shit, okay. Because I try to play it down the middle. I try to be objective. So when I see stuff like the shit that they were saying, they're like, oh, the siege of the Capitol and the assault on democracy and all this shit. I'm like, I mean, They got in the doors. That's the difference. Is they got in the doors and they took the podium and they took pictures at the you know what I mean? Like that shit is taking it too far. But I hadn't seen the violence at that time.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely footage where you go, oh,
yeah,
that's
the guy that came in
scary.
with the zip ties.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
What, bro?
Here's also the thing, like when you're talking about like they're walking around with no mask. Here's how you know they were not career criminals. These fucking dumb shits don't even realize they've committed a huge crime, but they are also taking selfies. They're recording it. You know, they're showing themselves committing these acts, and it's just like, you dummies don't understand. You guys are fucked. Like they don't have to start arresting you guys right now. You guys are already giving them all the evidence they need to just come get you in your house.
That's I think people got really upset about them not getting like arrested right there and then. But I'm like, all that's going to do is cause more chaos inside when you can very easily just get them in a couple of days and they're going to be in prison. It won't be as publicized and it won't be as big of a story, or you won't get the visual that you all want of these guys getting their comeuppance, unless somebody happens to be using their camera in an airport and someone's trying to get on a flight and they get flagged for being a flight risk.
I laughed my ass off when you saw these people, you know, finding out they're on the no-fly list.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, guys, I'm sorry. Like, do you not understand what you did? You thought the Muslim ban
It was bad.
the Muslim ban was a good idea because of terrorist acts. You motherfuckers just committed one of the biggest terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
And
oh man, when I saw the guy running through the halls with the Confederate flag, that one for me was offensive as shit.
That's gnarly.
Because that is legitimately insurrection. That is.
I mean, it's like somebody, kind of carrying a Nazi flag.
Yeah.
It's something. It's nuts, man. It's something you don't want to see.
No, that one, there are a lot of veterans rolling over in their grave on that one. That was fucking.
I just get a
terrible.
kick out of stupid people look when they carry that thing. I'm like, guys, you're carrying the flag of a country that lost.
Yeah.
Like you're basically carrying on a loser's flag.
Let me
and they don't get it. They're dorks. They're like, look at me, I'm racist. But no, you look like an idiot.
So let me ask you this, right? Right or wrong, okay? I mean, we have right or wrong, right? They believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're right or wrong, they believe it. It's in their head. They believe that they're right. The people that were, charging in the building and into the Capitol and doing all those things. So Trump had in the election, I want to say like 70 million voters. Now 74 million voters for Trump.
It's a lot of people.
Now, many of them are voting for the policies. Many of them are voting for the party. But there's a large portion of those people that are fanatic about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say half of those people, 45 million or so, 40 to 45 million. No, that's too many. What am I saying? 35 to 40 million people who are backing Trump because they're fanatic legitimately believe that the election was stolen and that there were foreign actors involved and all of the, CIA, FBI were involved in this coup of the country. What are you supposed to do? Like if this is real, if it was the opposite, right? Like people, I mean, I guess you could say we already saw what Democrats did, right? The belief is that the Russians meddled in the election, and what did they do? Well, they took it to the courts, right? That's what they did. That's what they marched in the streets. Originally, people marched, they walked, they protested, they wore pussy hats, and and that was it. They took it to court. We had the CIA and FBI tell us stuff. They filed, who was leading the charge? Was it Mueller? The Mueller investigation? But these other 35 million, if they're staunchly believe, like, what do you do if you go, oh well, the courts aren't going to take care? I don't know what the answer is, because I think that's what you do is you march, right? You march, you protest. I'm not saying what they did is right, but I'm saying, like, I'm asking, like, this is like open for discussion. What do you do if the roles were reversed? If you're supporting the Democratic Party and you feel like, holy shit, overnight all these votes were stolen or whatever, just for whatever reason you couldn't piece it together in your head, and there's a large portion of the people that believe that the Democratic vote was stolen. Like if you go, holy shit, this is a fascist in government, taking the place. He's like, it's going to become a throne. This is going to be an empire. It's no longer a republic. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you supposed to do if you believe that's happening?
You're asking me?
Yeah, or Adam or whoever.
Wait 4 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's all you can do, man. Okay, you want to go protest? Protest, cool. But guess what? You're gonna have to wait 4 years. So then that's why we vote.
So let me ask you this. That was to certify the vote.
Yes.
So they had people saying, they had Republicans coming forward saying, let's nullify it. It was bullshit. We don't believe in it. Let's nullify it. So let's say that the vote got nullified, or that Pence at the end of it said, you know what? These are invalid. These votes are invalid. Then what? So now you're the Democratic Party. You're supported. Your candidate won the election, a free election. So then what do you do? Because I could see the roles flipped where if that should happen, if Pence said, these are nullified, we believe there's foul play, we believe there's foreign actors involved, we have evidence of it, I see the Democrats doing the same thing. I see the same people, not the same people, but the same actions. People charging the Capitol, trying to get in, because that's my question is, what do you do? Because the only thing I could think of is if they had nullified the vote and Pence had said, we're certifying Trump for a second election, all hell would have broken loose, right?
We basically have to do what they're doing for the inauguration next week. They're bringing in everyone, all the military. Because no matter what side, at this point, it sucks, but no matter what side this point protests, there's always going to be that group that's there to just start shit. It's both sides. Both sides have that. Both parties, if they're just normal people that have their beliefs, they're not, I wouldn't call any of them radicals. But on both sides, there's radicals that are there to just start shit. And that's what would happen. And that's why I didn't understand why they weren't more prepared last week.
So here's the thing. Okay, let's say Pence went on the floor and said all that stuff, right? Yep. And here's the thing. The state, the attorney general, they'd already done an investigation in the voting. Right. And they said there was no tampering. They nothing significant. Maybe one or two, a handful of little whatever votes, but nothing significant. So now if that wasn't, now let's say they didn't do an investigation, they didn't double count, triple count, however many times they fucking counted these goddamn votes in every state, then then there might be something. But the thing is, every state, even the attorney general bar said there's no tampering, there's no problem with the election.
Trump, so let's say,
and here's another problem: conspiracy theorists. Hey, if you want to believe in conspiracies, that's fine. But the problem is, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you'll never be taken seriously. Why? Because you never fucking accept the truth. You never fucking accept the truth. You always got to throw a fucking, a wild, just a wild pitch and be like, it might land. So when they fucking stormed the Capitol, right? What was the conspiracy afterwards?
Antifa.
It was people.
That was fucking wild.
It was Antifa dressed up as Trump.
Oh my God!
All right,
I
asshole.
heard that.
Whoever asshole said that, you just lost all credibility. You just lost all credibility.
So let me ask you this though. So let's say he does it, and because I want to know your honest opinion.
He does what?
Pence says we're overruling, it was invalid, and we did a private investigation. We did an independent investigation, independent of the FBI and CIA, because they've been infiltrated. Right? This is what I'm saying. I'm just saying they throw it out there. Trump's staying in office. The election was invalid. What do the people do? Because I want to know. Because my guess would be, at that point, you're assuming that there's a coup. You're saying that, oh fuck, there's a fascist in the office. They're overthrowing democracy to stay in the seat of power. So at that point, wouldn't you expect Democrats to do the same thing? And the only reason I'm asking this is because I'm saying it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. That's what they believe.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's I don't know.
What do you do?
I stay in my house.
That's cool. Me too. I'm not going anywhere.
Dude, I don't give a fuck. So Saturday, did you see what happened Saturday down in PB?
Mm-mm.
So they had PB, by the way, people, is Pacific Beach.
Yeah, for those of you that live in South Africa.
We
do have South Africa. He didn't know that we have South Africans listening.
Oh yeah, you never looked at that?
No, I've looked at it.
We got motherfuckers all over.
They're all
the
over the place. Yeah, I remember you guys talked about it early on.
So there was a pro-Trump kind of rally thing going on, or protest, whatever. A few people put out a little thing saying, "Hey, we're gonna be pro-Trumpers for the fucking day or something. So of course,
for the day,
Antifa finds out. I mean, I don't even know if these are like real Antifa people, but like people dressed up as Antifa. They went down there and counter-protested, and then a little bit of shit popped off. Not cool, man. Not cool. There was some video of it. Some Antifa guy like pepper sprayed a service dog with his owner. God. Because the service dog reacted to like what was going on, and the guy just blasted this Rottweiler.
Fuck that guy.
But here's, I ain't going down there if I hear that kind of shit's going on. But here's the problem. Both sides, the pro-Trump and this Antifa, are both radicals on each side, right?
Right.
As much as they want to say they want to peacefully protest, no, you don't show up to a peaceful protest with goddamn mace.
Right.
So here's what I personally think. The community, right? People that live in PB, have, kids that go to the school, they have, they're invested in the community. These people need to start stepping up. And when they see that happening, they need to show up also and be like, we don't want either of you motherfuckers here.
So let me ask you this, because this is interesting. Again, for those of you that aren't from San Diego that are listening across the country or in another country, East County of San Diego is called Santee or Lakeside or Ramona. There's several parts of East County, but it's known to be more red-leaning, lots of Trump supporters out there, Republicans for sure. And during the summer, with Black Lives Matter was taking over the country because of what had been going on, and there were caravans and protests all over the county, but specifically in Santee there were, can you help me out here, Adam? Were they pro-Trump or they were something? They were militia type, and they were standing there with guns saying, get out, we don't want you here, because we don't want any shit, we don't want you guys burning anything down. But that was super frowned upon. I'm sure it was because they're wearing Trump stuff. But like, if you did that in PB and you stood your ground with if they stood up, the whole
I'm not saying show up with guns.
No, I know, which I think is but what would you do?
Show up as a community
and what? Hold hands?
Hi, you far right people that are the pro-Trump people right now, and you the far left that are these Antifa people that keep fucking causing shit. We don't want any of you guys here.
So what do you do?
That's the community needs to step up. So here's a short little story. So back when all the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, June, something like that. Mm-hmm. So this town somewhere in Illinois, it's somewhere near Chicago. I read about this. Mostly a black African American population. They were going to have a Black Lives Matter protest there, and the community showed up. Remember, I said it was African American, a higher African American population in this town. They showed up, told the Black Lives Matter protest, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Because you guys are going to come in here and cause some shit, and then you're going to leave. We have to live here. This is where we live. We're going to be the ones paying for this. Very admirable, because they recognize, listen, your message is getting lost completely because you guys keep fucking, and maybe it's not the BLM people, it's the people that are looking for that shit. They're looking for a reason to break a window and loot a place. That's the problem. Even these pro-Trump groups, these Black Lives Matter, these Antifa people, if you want to be taken seriously, you got to police yourself a little bit and say, listen, anybody who comes in here and starts some shit and takes this to another level, you're fucking us all.
So I know you're not the marketing guy, but if you were rebranding Black Lives Matter to be, maybe more nationally accepted as a rally cry, like what would you say?
Exactly. The thing is, you have to weed out the people that are causing problems.
Right, but I'm saying, what would you change the name? Like, would you change? Is there a name you could change it to that some people wouldn't get offended for some reason because they say, "Oh, Black Lives Matter." What? White lives don't matter. Mexican lives don't matter.
No, I don't know about that.
There's that crowd out there that's like, "Oh, you're just saying that we don't matter." It's like, no, that's not what they're saying. But is there a name you could change it to that, like equal rights? Because can you bring up equal rights again or civil rights or
no? Because eventually the same malicious group will indoctrinate themselves into that. It's what happened with the Black Panthers back in the day.
Did you ever see?
Those were peaceful, but then there was the part of them that wasn't peaceful.
Well, did you ever see during the civil rights, right, the '60s with Martin Luther King, right?
Yeah.
They're going all around the South and protesting, right? They're doing marches. Yeah, did you ever know why that was so effective during that time? So Martin Luther King was like, hey, you're going to march. You're going to march peacefully. Right? These guys, this group of people were not doing anything illegal. They were just marching and protesting, which is their First Amendment right. Guess what happened? Law enforcement took it to the next level. So now you have news cameras, right? And back then, TV was huge.
Oh shit! You had 4 channels.
Exactly. So it was huge. So now, white America, right, and the rest of the United States is watching at 6:00 at night on the new, nightly news. All they see is these protesters walking, and all of a sudden, police just bombard them, start kicking the shit out of them for no reason. Now, that tells a huge story. That, if you, I, Adam, anybody watching that on TV, you go, wait a minute, this isn't right. So then they start to gain support because, listen, I'm looking at it right now on TV. Nothing. These police just bombarded these people with mace, clubs, canines. So that's why that's why those civil rights movements worked back then, is because they used the power of peaceful protest. And unfortunately, back then, law enforcement didn't really understand that. Hey, guys, TV or footage, film speaks loud. Really loud words on TV. I think, and I'm sure everybody has their own idea of how it should be done. But to me, when you go in and you start thrashing things, causing problems like that, it does more harm. It does more harm.
So, Adam, you brought this up the other day. This all, I'm bringing it all together here about the inauguration of Biden. What was your specific question about that?
No, my question. I think the question was, it wasn't related to any of this though.
It has to do with divided factions and things like that.
Oh no, my question was about, are they doing an actual inauguration with an actual big crowd?
I haven't heard about that yet. I've heard it's going to be like online kind of thing, but I haven't heard if it's going to be actual ceremony. Have you heard?
No, I haven't heard. But my thought is this will be, and again, this is because there's divided factions. It has to do with optics. Has to do with, last time we saw an inauguration was Trump's inauguration, where he argued it was the biggest inauguration ever, even though there was photo and
it was huge, bro.
Photo and video evidence that
it's like claiming WrestleMania was sold out when there's 20 people.
Listen, here's what we do. Okay, here's what we do. You take 4 members of Black Lives Matter, you put them in a ring, okay, and then you take 4 members of Antifa, and they start fighting. Okay,
what if we
and then hold on, and then about 2 minutes in, you release Antifa.
Okay.
Or no, so we have who do we have? We have
It was a War Games match we're having here?
No, it's like a finale of Raw back in the day.
Oh, okay. So you've got Black Lives Matter first, and then you send in the Trump supporters.
So the Trumpers, okay, so Black Lives Matter and Trumpers are fighting.
Then Antifa.
And then all 4 members of Antifa run out, and they start fighting. And then you have
Blue Lives Matter.
And then you have the blue line people.
Yeah, the blue. Yeah.
And then you have the militia people.
Oh shit.
And then you have it's just a melee.
Oh my God, the cars. We'll see you next week.
And you have the King and good old JR commentating. And then all of a sudden it goes to black, and you got to tune into next week and find out what the result was.
That's what I always loved. The carnage was so much, right? He's just, oh my God, hellfire! What's going on here? I can't believe it. We'll see you all next week.
Oh, it was the best, man.
Every time.
You want a cliffhanger? That's a cliffhanger.
Why doesn't that work now?
I don't know.
What do you think? I think it's this.
Because it doesn't end with Steve Austin coming out and destroying everybody.
Just stunning everybody.
Usually how it would end.
So if they did that now, because I don't think they do, but if you had Brock out there with Reigns and out comes Orton, and then in comes Drew McIntyre, and then it's just like the heavies, all the heavies at the same. Is that enough to draw people nowadays to be
I don't know.
I don't think it is. Seth Rollins just starts
because it's been done
faces.
before, so it's like people are.
But it was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so real quick, we're talking about cliffhangers, and I got to bring this up. Anyways, real quick, what happened to the Capitol sucks. It sucks that people died. That girl from San Diego, I don't like saying this. Unfortunately, she died for nothing. I'm not gonna lie to you. She fucking died for nothing. These people thought they were going in.
She was a service member, right?
She was an Air Force person.
Fuck.
And like I said, I don't like saying that because she had a kid and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, it was a dumb idea. It was a dumb idea what you did, lady. I'm sorry. Okay, nothing happened out of it. If anything, you made things worse by doing that shit. Well, and I don't feel comfortable. I don't, like I said, I don't feel good about saying that, but that's the goddamn truth.
Well, now you're on edge for next week. You're a week from now. You don't know what's going to happen.
Bro, this is the end of Raw, and now we'll see you next week.
Next week is the pay per view. You're just waiting for.
What was it called? Capital Carnage.
Capital Punishment.
Capital Punishment.
Let's move on. I don't know if you guys watched this. I think it was on HBO. Did you watch the Tiger documentary?
I saw it finally pop up. I didn't get to watch it yet. Part 1.
Okay.
Is this the Tiger King guy?
No,
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
Oh, Tiger Woods.
Remember how they did the Michael Jordan one?
Yeah.
I feel like it's something like that, but I don't think it's going to be a 10-part thing. I think it's going to be like only a few parts. So I watched it because I was like, okay, there's nothing on. I'll watch it. You know, we basically kind of grew up in the time of Tiger Woods becoming famous and going through all of his, stuff. So it covers him and his dad's relationship growing up, Seems like the dad was very heavy on him going into golf, the guy, or it seems like Tiger was born right, with a golf club in hand.
Yeah.
And it's like whatever, okay, he's killing it on the amateurs, and then all of a sudden he goes pro and he's killing it on the pros. Then Nike was like, here's all the money, and you're gonna wear our shit. And actually, we're gonna go a little controversial here with the first commercial saying that he wasn't allowed to golf on certain courses because of racism, all this kind of stuff. And then of course, he becomes the greatest golfer of all time. He meets this smoke show Swedish chick and marries her. And you're like, okay, yeah, he's got a sweet video game that I loved playing when I was younger. And you're like, okay, this is cool. It's nothing. It didn't blow my hair back, right?
And then it shows video footage of her beating the shit out of his car with a 9 iron. It goes, we'll see you next week.
Not yet. So then you're like, okay, this is a cool little documentary. It's nothing incredible, but it's and then all of a sudden the porn star chick sits down for an interview, and she's just sitting there, kind of for a second, and just looks around and goes, okay, what do you want to know? And then boom. Cuts, and that's the end of the first part. And then and I literally sat up and I'm like, I'm hooked. I gotta see part 2 now.
Dude, that's so fucked up. I hate that. I hate that so much.
What?
Just that, imagine, because there's a slim chance, but something happens, Mike. It goes the right way. You get a WWE contract. Next thing you know, you're headlining WrestleMania. You're winning the title. You have a long run. And then we had a conversation on this podcast a while back about, you and hockey being a little bit of an enforcer sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden they're doing the documentary on your life, and it's, whoa, you beat the shit out of me and I almost died. What do you want to know? And you could paint anyone in the worst light on any moment in their life. Obviously, it was several moments for Tiger with several different people. But it's just the fact that you could dig into anyone's life and blast them on TV for fucking a subscription, a monthly subscription, is shit.
But you got to tell that story because that's a huge part of the Tiger Woods story.
I mean, you don't have to tell that story.
I think you do. It was very public.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to go. It doesn't it's just.
And that's not a real documentary. You're looking for a fluff piece.
No, I'm saying you don't even have to do the documentary. You could because you could go, oh, we could talk about just his career, and then you're like, yeah, but we could talk about his fucking sex.
But if you do a documentary where you don't talk about that stuff, it's why make the documentary?
Listen,
it's pointless.
I get it. I want to watch it. I'm probably going to go home and watch it now. I'm saying it sucks that we're in a place where there's so much media all the time. There's so many people doing so many things that I feel like the person from your past is the key moment in all these documentaries that come out. And
here's the thing. Tiger was probably 26, right? When all that when the porn star stuff and the sex addiction.
Oh, when he got caught?
Yeah,
I think he was much older than that.
But when did it start?
Oh, he was 26 when that happened.
No. He was pretty much toward. Everyone thought his golf career was over at that point when all that stuff happened. So he's probably in his 30s.
I mean, it pretty much did.
But here's the thing.
No, he won a couple.
How much money? Okay, when Nike first signed Tiger Woods, how old was he?
He was very young. Okay. I don't know the exact.
And he got paid. How much money? Probably hundreds of millions.
Buick was his boy too.
Devin Sparks.
Yeah, hey, that's a shoot name.
If you were 21 years old, and you're basically the Michael Jordan of golf,
right?
You got hundreds of millions of dollars on you. are you going to make the same decisions now as you would have back then?
Oh, absolutely not.
You would have been like, dude, I'm 21. Yeah, I got a little smoke show of a wife, but I have hundreds of $1 million.
He's on the road
constantly.
all the time.
You make dumb decisions when you're a kid. And especially when you got money, it's just bigger, it's just bigger dumb decisions.
Do you remember where you were when that story broke?
No, not at all.
I was driving home from work. It was an hour long drive plus. I was stuck in traffic north on the 5, going from Del Mar to North County, San Diego. And I'm listening to Padres coverage or whatever. I don't know, maybe it was the off season. I'm listening to coverage of some shit, just whatever the sports show was talking about. And the guy comes on, he's like, oh my God, breaking news. Tiger Woods, blah, blah, blah. His wife, he's going in custody. The police are there at his property. There's footage, there's evidence of her trying to like beat him out with a golf club, climbed on top of the car, beating his car. And I'm like, holy shit. And then it's like more reports are coming out that this is due to, and they started going into like the porn star stuff. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. And I sat in my car in front of the house for a half hour listening to this stuff. And I'm like, I got to go inside. I can't sit here anymore. I got to go in and like turn on the TV and watch it because it was like, I couldn't believe what you'd never heard of something like that bizarre in how long? Jesus, when's the last time you heard of something? Because that was the most bizarre thing in a decade, at least.
Oh, there was like a lot of sex addiction.
Yeah, I mean, you could go with the Kobe stuff too, but from back then,
and
he
David
had the whole
Letterman got caught up in that shit.
But
Kobe allegedly raping a girl was pretty shocking at the time. And that was before.
That was before?
Yeah,
okay. It was around the same time.
Yeah, it was probably,
So there was that.
David,
I don't know. They blamed Roethlisberger too. I don't know whatever came of that.
Yeah, nothing probably.
Really?
Letterman got caught up in that. Like there was a lot.
But I'm saying
cats.
Sports.
I don't know, man. There was. Here's the thing.
To me, it was the biggest fuck because it was ongoing. They had like a helicopter or some. It was very insane when I heard the story behind it is wild, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. Like you get like that time frame was a huge shift in the country as far as like media. Right, I'm guessing you had social media probably peeking its head.
Right,
you had video cameras on your phone. You have text messages. Listen, Frank Sinatra, he was married, right? You don't think he had some fucking side pieces going on? But back then, nobody knew. There wasn't huge media outlets. Social media. There wasn't camera phones. There wasn't. It was just a lot easier to hide it, right? And then there was a shift, and Tiger Woods probably was like, dude, whatever, man, I'm just getting a little bit of ass. I'm sure these other PGA golfers, they probably all got side pieces too, right? And he was probably like, hey, they're doing it, why can't I do it? I got just as much money. And all of a sudden, you realize, oh fuck, there's evidence, there's text messages, there's photographs.
I think that's the thing is it wasn't one incident. That was the culmination of like years of shit. And
exactly.
And they start going over porn stars' names and like shit. And you go, oh my God. They go. I don't remember.
I got a pretty good list off of that.
But they go, yeah, this person and this person and this person, and you go, oh man, fucking 3 girls. They go, and this person and this person. You're like 5 girls and this person. You're like, oh my God.
And
they go, and Ron Jeremy, and you're like, oh, that's.
And then you got to research these names.
Yeah,
you got to find out who they are
for research purposes.
Because you got to put a face to the name.
Yeah, because otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly. But you guys got to check out that documentary because I'm telling you, it was just kind of like whatever. And then the last, I swear to God, 30 seconds. As soon as that chick sits down and then goes, just kind of looks around.
What was her name for research purposes?
Something James, I think. It was like a rhyming name. I can't remember.
All right, whatever.
They didn't even say the name on the screen, but she just sat down and you're like, oh, I know who this is, and she just goes,
Rick James.
What do you want to know? And you're like, I'm hooked. I am fucking hooked right now. This is the end of Monday Night Raw. The Attitude Era.
We'll see you next week.
And I can't wait for next week.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was great, man. You got to check it out. But hey, let's talk about wrestling.
Let's do it.
We are a wrestling themed podcast, right?
We were.
Hey, you know somebody who's going to be wrestling Roman Reigns?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's right. Adam Pearce,
Scrap Daddy,
former NWA champion. I believe he was the Hollywood champion at some point.
I'm sure he did.
United something TV champion. He's been champion of everything, but he was NWA champion for a long time.
That's a really tell you the truth, like I'm not, you and I, we don't really watch too much wrestling. I mean, I watch it. Actually,
I'll watch it. I'll watch that one.
You watch, matches and stuff like that, but I can't say I've watched like a full broadcast like in a while.
No.
But seeing that, I go, well, this is interesting because Adam can work his fucking ass off.
Well,
and you want to, and he's never wrestled in a WWE ring.
I imagine he'll
before.
just be doing a lot of selling. But what's funny is I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a 12 or 13-year-old watching this shit, and I'm like, is this the same as like a like a Pat and a Briscoe thing? Like this is like a Gerald Briscoe thing and a Pat Patterson. Like you're watching, like, come on, dude. I don't want to watch him for some old ass guy. Like, give me someone legit. Like, give me.
I don't know, man. I used to love watching Briscoe and Pat Patterson getting stunned.
I know, but I'm saying, is it the same thing where you're like, oh, dude, this is gonna be shit? And meanwhile, you've got guys that have been around the business for a long time. Like, holy shit, this is sick. Like, I'm gonna tune in for this. I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, I don't know if they build up Pearce right as far as like so the Rumble is when
January 31st.
So what, in like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So they have like 2 weeks to kind of build him up a little bit. I don't know if are they going to bring up his past?
They acknowledge it.
They did?
He on the broadcast, because everyone keeps saying, "Are you going to be in this gauntlet match?" That was the main event of the show, and he's like, "Look, I haven't wrestled in 6 years, and even if I did, I don't think I could beat anybody right now, especially Roman Reigns." And on commentary, they kind of talk about how he's a wrestler. He used to wrestle.
But they never said he was the former NWA.
I think they did. I think they mentioned the NWA title.
So why was there speculation about was he going to be in the tournament?
Oh, because the whole thing was there was the match that was announced, and then the show started with Roman was pissed off because of something Pearce had done. Because Pearce is like the de facto GM right now.
Right.
Where he makes all the matches. So Roman was pissed off at him. And then Heyman put him in the gauntlet match, and then Pearce only ended up in the match because they threw him on top of Nakamura.
Dude, it all makes sense, okay, bro?
I know.
No, it really, the way they did it wasn't like, if I was like a stranger watching this and didn't know who Adam Pearce was, I would be like, oh, this is just Roman being a coward. Like he wants to just bully this guy.
I saw the clip, yeah. Yeah, that's what I took away from it, and that's why I was wondering, like, if I'm 12 or 13 and like I'm the like the target audience for this product, am I like, dude, fuck this?
Yeah, I understand, because it's like for me when I was watching WWF and they brought in like Jarrett and he was carrying the NWA belt, and I was like, I don't even know what that belt is.
Yeah,
like because like I said, I didn't grow up around NWA. I didn't know about it.
Wasn't on TV.
It wasn't on TV. All I knew was WCW and WWF. So when they were like NWA belt, I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So
I always thought that was
and
bad.
I was about like 15, 16 years old at that time. But I thought that was cool, man. And I hope they give Adam like a good competitive match.
I hope they give it to him
skills.
just for the angle. Just for the angle, just something different. Like, when's the last time they pulled something like that where they gave it to the GM or the headpiece? Just like Nakamura comes out, hits him with something. Scrap Daddy with the pile driver. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
And then hey, let Roman win.
Fans would be pissed.
You think so?
Yeah, people will say it's fake.
Other wrestling news. I was Sunday. I watched some wrestling live.
Nice.
Live. I went to the Level Up Pro Wrestling School.
There you go.
And they had some matches, like student matches.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who I saw?
Who'd you see?
I saw Judiz.
Oh, shit.
A.K.A. Julius. Yeah, he showed up and he was hanging out.
How's he doing?
He's good, man. I haven't seen him forever. Like, I haven't seen him. I probably did not see him. Well, maybe I saw him like back in January of 2020. But I hadn't seen him in forever.
No, he didn't go with us to Arizona at all.
Not in 2020.
Okay.
No. When I showed up, I was like, get the fuck out of here. What are you doing here, man? And
that's cool.
So it was him and Dom and Hunter. So we had some kids put on some matches. I guess they're going to go on to the IWTV.com. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
It was good, though, man. So it was just like a small setup, obviously, with how the world is right now.
Everyone tested and all that.
Everybody's tested and everybody's wearing masks and
protocols in place
and all that kind of stuff.
They do it right.
It was good, man. It's going to start being a weekly thing for Level Up. They're gonna just record matches and then send them to the IWTV. Maybe on YouTube. I'm not sure how they're gonna work, but It was cool, man. And actually, I'm happy to see that because, what's the point of fucking being a student and training if you don't have anywhere to wrestle?
Right.
And that's the thing, man. when you first, so you start training, right? And then you're learning and all that kind of stuff, but not until you get into your first match does it really click? Like,
right.
Oh, I get it now.
What sucks is, I don't know. It's so different, right? Every generation is different, but like, you look at how these guys are going to come out of it just filming only, right? And they're not working camera angles. It's not like it's for TV, but they're not. I don't know. I just wonder if California is shut down for another year, what they will look like at the end of a year in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
I wonder how different.
Because right now, these kids, I mean, there's been like 2, 3, 4 maybe students that have started wrestling. Mm-hmm. They have no idea what it's like to wrestle in front of people.
Yeah,
they have no idea what it's like to wrestle in front of a crowd. They've wrestled in front of nobody and very few people.
Yeah. So even if they wrestle a match a week for the whole year, they got 52 matches under their belt. It's very different when things open up.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about Dom, so Dom was there hanging out, and you think about it, Dom's never wrestled in front of a live crowd.
Yeah, but he's done a lot of spots in front of a live crowd.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I mean, you're doing a spot, right? Like he did the thing with his dad and Brock, he splashed Brock, hit him with a chair, all that. That was in front of a crowd. Am I correct on that? And, it's like, hey, that's cool. But when you're in a match in front of a crowd and you have to react a certain way, and it's not just one time you have to react. It's multiple times you have to react. You have to,
when to drag out a cell.
Exactly, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of these kids react to actually wrestling in front of a crowd. Because it does bring a different kind of pressure. I'm sure, I've never wrestled in the Thunderdome, but I'm sure it's like wrestling in front of just an empty studio, but just with a lot of monitors around with faces on it. So, but it was good seeing everybody, man. I was really happy to see that, there's going to be some matches going on and get some wrestling going on. Yeah, nice. Man.
That's cool.
Yep.
I feel like that's a really good idea. Whoever came up with it came up with a good one.
Yeah, man. It's an awesome idea. What else is going on? You want to do questions? I think we have a lot of questions.
Let's do questions, yeah.
Adam, give us a question.
All right, I will start on Instagram. We have some on Instagram, and we have one on Twitter. So I will go through them. First one. All right, so this is the one from Petey. He seems to be intent on giving the weirdest questions of the week. So we'll start off with the weirdest question of the week. Mike already read this. Devin has not. So
it's a very funny question.
Ahoy Hogs. Would you like to comment on that open, Mike?
Yeah, never say that again, Petey.
Okay. I agree. Last week's question was too mundane. Here's a question for you to sparks discussion.
Oh, great.
If your wife and fellow Hogsmen switched bodies Freaky Friday style, but the only way to reverse it was to have sex with one of them, whose and whose body would you screw?
Deb, you want to take a crack at this one?
I'm going to go to the next question.
Do you get it?
I get it.
So if Alyssa
I got it. Was in your
somehow
body.
got transferred into my body.
Would I fuck Alyssa in your body or you in Alyssa's body?
Yeah, what would you rather do?
Well, if you were in my wife's body, I wouldn't be able to probably win that fight. I'm like, it might just hold still, dude. You'd be like, I ain't fucking doing that. No way in hell. So.
Well, I mean, I'm obviously.
You know what though?
I'm obviously having sex with my wife's body, but you're in it.
Yeah, but I'd be like,
which is hilarious.
But, yeah, that can't happen.
And you're getting screwed, Dev.
It's not happening.
I'm sorry. Well, what am I supposed to do? Try and like get it up for you? You think that's what happened?
This is the dumbest. Fuck you, Petey.
I'm obviously having sex with my wife, but Devin's going to be inside my wife's body.
But you know what? But people would be like, oh my God, that woman's getting... I would be screaming rape so loud and hitting the walls.
Well, the thing is, you don't want to live in my wife's body for the rest of your life, right? We got to switch, dog. You got to get it. Let's just do this as painlessly as possible.
I would be like, hey, you know what? You're by PB. Find yourself a roofie guy. I'm gonna take a little nap.
Anyways, good question, Petey.
That was a good question?
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh my God,
it's funny.
All right, this one is from Jordan Cross, who
I would never have sex with your body.
No, I would never either.
Dude. Gross.
That's
man.
just yeah. Why would you even suggest that?
Well,
that's
Mike made the best point. It's like it might not be possible for you to have sex with someone in Mike's body because
could.
I don't know if you could get like the
couldn't.
feeling that you need to have to do that.
Sexually aroused.
Sexually aroused.
No, you can't.
I don't think you could do that if that's not what you want.
All right, next question.
This is from Jordan Cross. Mike has worn his shirt before.
Jordan Cross is a wrestler out in the Wisconsin, Midwest area. Very cool dude.
And his question is, who'd win, Raymond or Jacques Rougeau?
Which one socked up Dynamite Kid back in the day?
Sure.
There was a story. So it was between Dynamite and the Rougeaus. Apparently, like Dynamite was kind of messing with one of them.
It probably was Jacques because he's the one that has the shitty rep.
Okay.
Like Jacques is the one who like WWE used to like pretend like didn't exist. Like, and he would get his kids at his school's tryouts, but they weren't really tryouts. They were just here you go.
So to answer that question, I'll take whichever Rougeau socked Dynamite Kid in the face because obviously the guy is a tough bastard. So yeah.
Or he's nuts.
Which one was the Mountie?
I don't think that was.
I
think that was Jacques.
Wasn't one of the Rougeaus?
I'm looking right now. Yeah, it was Jacques that was the Mountie.
Yeah.
That was a cool character. Remember he had that like that cattle prog?
Yeah. Kevin Owens trainer.
Yeah, I've heard that story before too. But yeah, I'm thinking whichever Rougeau socked Dynamite Kid is probably the one that'll win the fight.
I think it was. I'm looking right now, and it's showing. I see Raymond Rougeau on Dynamite Kid YouTube, 29 minutes. He's got his fists up, so I think it might be him.
Yeah, okay, it's probably Raymond. I'm taking Raymond on that one. Dev, are you taking Raymond? Or are you taking the Mountie?
I'm taking the Mountie, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I'm taking the Mountie.
All right. The next question is from Mix Mutt on Instagram. He wants to know your guys' Super Bowl predictions.
I kind of want to see the Bills go. Just cause, man. Like, I remember back in the day when the Bills went to the Super Bowl 3 times and goose egged it all 3 times. But they were incredible, man. They went to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row.
I will say if the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, a human being will die.
Really?
In Buffalo. Those people are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
The tables thing that
Did
they
you,
do, the fire tables and shit.
Did you ever travel up to Buffalo?
No, it's upstate New York. It's a little far now. I've never been that close.
They're like basically Canadians up there, right?
Yeah, Buffalo is basically Canada.
Yeah.
Calling Buffalo New York is kind of silly.
I feel like I do need to witness a Bills Mafia tailgate party.
People are nuts.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah.
And plus, like the way that stadium is like kind of just parked right there in like the middle of like a suburb, like in front of like a community with like houses around it, and all this.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's
that's kind of how
there.
Lambeau is too, as far as I know.
It's in the middle of a.
Yeah, Buffalo's not a big place.
Like yeah, there's houses around. What's Buffalo's stadium called?
Is it Raymond James?
It used to be. No, that's Florida.
But anyways, it's like there's houses around it, and there's people just like partying. Like if you ever see video of the Bills Mafia stuff, it's nuts, man. There's like people like screwing off to the side.
What?
Like right there in like residential area. It's so funny. They're like I'm saying, they're crazy Canadians.
And they let them into the stadium for the last week's game. Like it was like 7,000 people.
Yo, that Josh Allen kid's sick too.
He's very good.
And was it Diggs?
Diggs, yeah. They both helped me beat Devin's wife in fantasy football.
I'm digging the Bills right now. I think the Browns also because they've had such a shitty team for the past 20 years, more than that. It's kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to see the Browns in it. Dev, what do you think?
I had to get a refresher of the bracket here because I was pretty tossed last weekend. But I want to see Bucks and Bills. That's what I want to see.
I wouldn't mind seeing the Bucks. And actually, I think it's kind of cool that Brady's in the playoffs right now, and the Pats aren't.
And that's exactly why. Like, the Rams, I don't think have a chance in hell. Their quarterback's injured, and he's been garbage all year. Packers, I mean, they're obviously very strong, but they got destroyed by the Bucks. The Saints destroyed the Bucks this year, but I don't think the Saints stand a chance right now. So I got Bucks over Saints, Packers over Rams, Bucks over Packers, Bills over Ravens, Chiefs over Browns, and then Bills over Chiefs.
So who do you want to see in the Super Bowl?
I told you, the Bills and the Bucks.
Bills and the Bucks? Cool, man. Jordan, thank you very much.
All right, so these next two questions are from Foul Footage Photography. His first question is, what social stigma does society need to get over?
You know what? I feel like weed still has a stigma about it.
Absolutely. That's got to be it.
Even though it's legal,
Jesus.
it still has like a stigma about it.
My mom still treats it like it's like cocaine.
Really?
Like she's like, my brother smokes and she's like, you do? I'm like, Mom, it's weed. It's like you drink alcohol. It's the same fucking thing.
It's legal.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
federally it's not, which is still so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get a job if you test positive for marijuana.
Do people still piss test?
Yeah.
For weed?
Yeah.
Even state, or not non-federal jobs?
it depends on where the company is located. So you could have a branch in California, but they could be based out of like
a
Missouri or some shit.
Yeah.
And if it's a company policy, it doesn't matter.
It's weird too, man, because like if you look at the last election, did you see all the on every state, if like weed or like some kind of drug
Arizona
was on the ballot? Dude, Oregon legalized like a lot of stuff. Was it Oregon or Washington?
Portland.
Okay.
Portland, Oregon. Yeah. They decriminalized it.
Yeah. So
you can go, if you want to do meth, go to Portland.
You know, that's good for them because I believe in that, honestly. And here's why. If just because it's decriminalized doesn't mean people are going to fucking do it.
No.
Like, I have no interest in doing meth. If tomorrow the governor came out, Gavin Newsom was like, hey, meth is totally legal in California. We'll even give you discounts if you want to buy it. I'd be like, that's cool, man. I have no interest. Thank you.
Well, you look at marijuana in California, there wasn't a huge spike. Like, you didn't just see people smoking like left and right on the streets or anything like that. Like, there wasn't this incredible surge of like people just being high. You know, so it's like it's just legal now.
Well, nothing really changed when it comes to weed because my roommate smokes and the same places that were open are still open. Yeah, they just don't have to hide it as much as they used to.
Well, some people had to find new jobs, but other than that, yeah, no, there's people. If you're gonna smoke, you're gonna smoke. If you're gonna do a certain drug, you're gonna do a certain drug. Whether it's legal or not, it doesn't matter.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
What is there anything else stigma that should probably be?
I think working from home won't be a stigma after this. I think it was a huge stigma before. Like,
you think so?
Yeah, especially my last company I worked for. I tried for 3 years to work from home because I worked for a global company, and the majority of my projects were on the East Coast or in the UK. So I was at the office by 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. And I was immediately on a phone call or immediately in a presentation or something like that with someone out in New York or out in London. And, I was fucking over it. I'm like, dude, I don't need to be getting up in the morning at 4:45 to make sure I'm in the office by 5:30 for this call. I can do it from home. Yeah. There's not a fucking problem with that. Yeah. And, I argued with him for 3 years. That's eventually why I ended up leaving. Because I was like, I need to be able to do this from home. There's no point in me coming to the office.
Yeah.
And now everyone gets to work from home.
I agree with you. I think after all this quarantine and shit is gone, you will see a lot more work from home because a lot of these companies have been surviving with their employees working from home. So they're like, well, why the fuck do we have this huge building as an office? You know, we got all this overhead. When all these motherfuckers just do it online.
I know for like instance, like my mom works at a law firm and they've been busier than ever right now.
Really?
Like, and there's nobody in the office. Like the main bosses and my mom are there every day. And it's like everybody else works from home. Nothing's changed. They're still just as busy as ever. And they're talking about like, they don't know when they're going to open their office back up either.
Yeah.
It's like maybe 2022, but
I would say prostitution is another one. Like I think it's one of those things like drugs, like, I'm not going to do meth.
Yeah.
But like if you're already doing meth, I don't think you should, if you get caught, I don't think you should go to jail and then be there for 3 years and now that's on your record. Now you can't get a job. And the same thing with prostitution. If someone's like, I just need to fuck someone.
Listen, I agree. I agree with that. You guys heard of a little new thing called OnlyFans?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. So my wife and I were discussing this because she found out somebody she knows is on OnlyFans.
Nice.
And I'm like, there's a lot of people on OnlyFans. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think it's a big fucking deal.
But And that's, a video thing, which is different.
No, people fuck on that thing. And
On
guess what?
OnlyFans?
Yes.
Wait, but not with fans.
No, so if you're a girl, right?
Right.
Let's say you're a girl and you're like, hey, I'm going to go on OnlyFans and I'm going to, release pictures. I'm going to do all this stuff. Oh, by the way, I'm going to take it to the next level and I'm going to have, sex on camera. Well, I don't have a boyfriend. Okay, so what do I have to do? I have to find a dude.
Oh, okay.
Right? And now maybe that guy ain't going to do it for free.
So now you got to pay him.
So now you got to pay him $200. But now he's I'm using air quotes, he's a model, right?
Right, but he's a sex worker.
Exactly. It's what's the fucking difference?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I didn't realize that. I thought it was just people like jerking off in front of a camera or something.
No.
You know what I mean?
What is that? Have you guys ever, was it something chat roulette?
Chat roulette or something. Yeah.
You guys ever heard about that?
Yeah.
Where like you're supposed to chat with people, but all it is just guys
People jerking off. So I didn't realize that, but yeah, that makes sense. That if you're making money to take off your clothes on camera, what's the difference between doing it in front of a person and then
a lot of these broads and dudes are making some serious dough off OnlyFans. Serious dough.
Yeah.
I know a girl, very good looking girl. She used to work with my wife. I was talking to her. She's a big gamer, right? She likes video games.
Twitch.
And I told her that. I'm like, you like video games. Why don't you open a Twitch account? She's a good looking girl. Why don't you do a Twitch account? Guys will pay you to watch you play video games. And
such a weird
thing.
Like
I'm just like, if you're looking for something to do right now and make some serious money, there it is. And you don't have to do anything sexual, I don't think, right? Twitch is just about video games.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I'm sure some guys jacking it to it. Everybody has a weird, there's tons of weird
What a
fetishes.
Weird thing. I want to watch this chick play video games.
I know, that's nuts, right?
Like, oh, dude, she's crushing at World of Warcraft. She's level 70. That's tight. I don't know. Oh, yeah,
All right.
she's a fucking orc. I dig
So
that shit.
stigmas. That was 3 stigmas we just named off. Weed, prostitution, and work from home.
Working from home.
Another one from Foul. When did something start out badly for you, but in the end it was great?
I'm trying to think here. I mean, there's kind of like a few instances, but like, no, like when I first got into the bar industry, like it wasn't like the most welcoming. Like I got in when like it was like the last of like the tough guys.
Oh, sick.
So you kind of like, it was not like a hazing, but everybody's just kind of walking around. You're like, who the fuck are you kind of thing, where you're just like, what the fuck? I'm like 21 years old. I just got into the bar industry. I got these like big dudes that are all scary looking. They're all grizzled, kind of being like, who the fuck are you? And then all of a sudden, like you kind of become that person because you lived that world for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the bar industry, like I got a wife out of it. I got my wife through the bar industry.
Pretty good. I feel like mine's all opposite. Like something starts off real hot and you're like, yeah, this is sick. And then like it turns out not. You're like, oh, that sucks. Or down the line, just shit hits the fan and blows up in your face. I actually don't. I don't have an example of something that
I'm sure you do.
Shitty.
It's just kind of a hard thing. It's like, it's like the coincidence question we had the other week.
Right.
It's like, I'm sure there's plenty of answers. I just can't think of it right now.
But it's not. But the positive that would have come of it wouldn't be like notable enough to discuss. I would never be like, oh shit, this one time.
You're like, I got this one opportunity.
Yeah.
And, it started off horribly. And
my
then
leg
all of a
was
sudden,
on fire. And then all of a sudden,
I got a contract and I'm on TV and I'm famous.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's nothing phenomenal. Like it would be very minimal. It'd be like, oh, I made a couple $100 out of it.
Yeah. I don't know if I've had like any like wrestling experience where it's like, hey, this sucked, but then it really paid off. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing on that.
Anyways, at least you got an answer out of me. Bar industry, met my wife out of it.
All right, this one is from Brandon Cito 619. Are there older students at the school? What's the youngest and oldest there?
At Level Up, Brandon, you're the fucking oldest. He's a student at the at Level Up.
Oh, okay.
Back when I first started wrestling, I was probably the oldest student in the class.
I started at 17. So I was the youngest, I think, at the time, and it was like really shameful to be like under 18 and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it should be now too.
I don't even know if like at Level Up who the youngest kid is, and by youngest I mean he's probably like, which I don't even know if that's like who it is.
Yeah.
But they're probably like 20 or 21.
Yeah.
Which is probably about the right appropriate age.
Yeah, I think even 18 is too young to do it. Unless your family's in the business.
Yeah.
I think 18 is still so fresh and like grow up a little bit.
Yeah, man, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot out on your body, and it's like, the earlier you start, the earlier you're gonna start getting hurt.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I don't know, like the youngest kid I've ever trained with. I don't think I've ever. I remember this one kid. They called him the intern at SoCal Pro. I can't remember his full. I think his name was Mike also, but I think he was like 16 or 17, and it was so funny. He was trained to become a wrestler, and so after a few months, I was like, hey, let's have a match. Or I don't know if I said that or if they were like, hey, Mike, have a match with the intern. I was like, all right, cool, man. This kid was so scared. Like, how so in wrestling, it's an illusion. It's an illusion what we do, right? We make it look like a struggle. We make it look like all this kid. So this kid, it was so
I make everything look like a struggle.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Good.
But he was so funny. You're working with this. I was working with this kid. And I kind of like took him down, and all of a sudden he's scrambling to get out of the ring, and I'm holding him by the foot, like, "Hey man, relax, dude." And he's like scrambling, like pulling himself out of the ring. And finally, I just let him go, and I'm like, "What is going on? We haven't done anything. We've locked up, and I've taken him down." And but I don't know. It was weird.
It's like one of those things we hear about in like the 70s or early 80s with the old timers. They don't smarten them up in training. Yeah, they don't get smartened up until their first match. All right, go out there.
Yeah, they kick the shit out of them first.
Yeah. But they'll tell them, don't move. Or, get punched in the jaw really hard. Like, I can do that. But, like, it's almost like he didn't understand it was a work.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I was just like, what's going on with this kid? Did you ever listen to Flair stories?
Yeah.
When he talked about, like, back in the day, I forgot what, I think it might have been, like...
training in a barn or some shit?
Yeah, but, it was after that. It was... Gagne. What did he have? What promotion?
AWA.
AWA. I think it was that. They would bring obviously new kids or new guys would come in, and first they would just go, okay, cool, you're a tough guy. Go in the ring with so and so, and then they would just get mopped up, like literally just just destroyed.
Kick.
Like Flair said, Magnum, Magnum
TA.
Walked out of there being like, I don't know if I should come back, and Flair was like, you have to come back, or else you're done.
Just getting stretched.
But he said these guys would just get their asses kicked by, I can't remember who he said that was doing it, but Flair was like, I wasn't into that. They asked me to do it a couple times. I don't do that. But so they sent in somebody, a newer guy, with these two people that kicked the shit out of people. And this guy ended up kicking the shit out of two people. The guy's name was Buzz Sawyer. And I guess he just fucked up the two guys that were supposed to stretch him. And I guess that stopped afterwards because they were like, oh shit. Because they didn't back in the day, they didn't smarten up the new guys that they could fight back. They just basically, the new guys just kind of took an ass kicking. Gotta weed them out.
So stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think it's stupid?
I think it is.
I mean...
I think if you wanted to do it right nowadays, if you're like, oh, you got to be tough.
Now it would never fly.
Yeah, but if you're like, oh, you got to be tough to do it, then you do dual training. You go, look, you're going to train to be a wrestler 2 days a week, and 2 days a week we're bringing in a Muay Thai expert, and you're going to learn Muay Thai. You're going to learn how to defend yourself. You're going to learn how to take someone out, or whatever it is. But if that's what you want to do, you want to train tough guys. You don't want pussies in the ring. You don't want, you want to be able to defend yourself and really hurt people. Then you do different types of training.
Well, I think what it was more about back in the day was these guys would go out to bars, right? These wrestlers,
right?
And they don't want the wrestlers getting their asses kicked.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. If that it shouldn't be a concern nowadays. I don't think anyone would have that concern. But if it is, then bring in a real fighting coach. Train people how to fight.
Yeah, maybe. Anyways,
not everyone's blessed to be as big enough as Petey. You know what I mean?
Who asked that question again?
Brandon Cito, 619.
Brandon, thank you very much.
This one is from DTF Abel. He said
DTF had a match on Sunday.
Nice.
I actually was the agent for his match.
Oh.
Him and Leo.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Benny's like, hey, I'm going to have you like start agenting matches. Because it's good experience, right?
Yeah.
I've never done it. And I was like, okay, you know, like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll tell you guys kind of like how to help you guys out a little bit, like creating the match.
Don't let them do stupid shit. Make it make sense.
No, there was no stupid shit going on.
All right, his question.
Not on my watch.
That's what I mean. That's all you have to do.
Not on my watch.
His question is: I've heard people continue to say Conor McGregor should go to the WWE or AEW. Do you agree? And if yes, how do you think McGregor would do in pro wrestling?
Fucking great.
He would do fantastic.
He would mop the floor with dollar bills, with $100 bills, all the way to the ring. That guy would be making so much fucking money, hand over fist. It wouldn't even be funny.
Let's see.
People would still pay, wrestling fans, knowing it's a work, would still pay to see him get his ass kicked. They would. People would come out, I want to see him get his ass kicked.
Maybe,
they
yeah.
would know it's, absolutely they would.
Let's see. McGregor, I think he fights at like 145. So he's probably walking around. I think he's fought at 170 before. So he's probably naturally walking around 185.
No way. Is he really? He's a small guy, isn't he? He's like
Yeah.
5'7" or something?
Probably, but his weight, the weight class that he fights at. So if you look at that, he's cutting down probably 20, 30 pounds, something like that. So you're talking about like naturally he's walking around. Would he do well promo wise? Yes, very much so. I mean, I'm sure he'd do well. Here's the thing:
5'9",
he ain't going.
170.
He ain't going
He's
over.
got a fight in like 10 days.
He's got to fight, but he ain't going no pro wrestling. The guy makes hundreds of $1 millions from real fighting. So
Yeah.
there's no reason for him to go
And
do.
sometimes guys that come from that have like this stigma about losing. Like I know Matt Riddle initially had it. He was like, no, I don't pin. And like, I remember Kurt Angle had a whole thing. He's
Kurt
like,
Angle.
No, nobody. You don't beat me.
He told Kurt. Did you ever hear about that, Dev? Kurt Angle like said with his first meeting with Vince, he told Vince like, I can't lose, and Vince just started laughing and was like, okay, then we can't work with you.
That's funny. No, that makes sense. I was trying to look right here. The guy would draw, like with the real crowd, Conor would draw so much fucking money. I mean, he really would. Really would draw a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, Rousey came in and did a fantastic job.
You know why? Is because he could come in, and it just depends on what the WWE is willing to do to their own product, right? But imagine, because you really could on the first show have Drew McIntyre come up and talk some shit, or Roman Reigns come up and talk some shit, and he could throw some hooks and throw him in an arm bar or something stupid, make him look stupid, tap him out. Doesn't have to be for the title or anything. It could be in like a fight, like a scuffle in the middle of the ring, and that guy would just make so much money. I'm looking at guys here.
Here's the thing: Drew McIntyre's enormous.
I know he is,
and Conor McGregor's not. So I don't know, like,
but he could light him up real fast, and
maybe like. And by the way, like, obviously in real life, could Conor McGregor kick the shit out of Drew McIntyre? Yes, but like in wrestling, it's all about like big men, right? The proven formula: you take two big guys, put them in the ring, and have them fight, and people are gonna fucking watch, right? That's the proven formula. So, of course, Conor's gonna draw eyes. Who knows, man?
You want to put him in there with somebody like near his size, so it doesn't automatically look so alarming.
Exactly. I'd want him in there with like Finn Balor,
but
or like Kyle O'Reilly,
AJ Styles.
But put him in there with Balor and who's the guy that looks like Balor? Devlin, right? You put him in there, and you have a Conor unscripted. They're talking about whatever and how they're the champion and all that shit, and then you have Conor come in there. Completely unscripted. Oi, look at you fucking pussies walking around with your fucking grit. And he just like tears him a new asshole. Like, oh, you're so sad.
That's a horrible Irish accent.
I'm not really doing it. I'm trying to hold back laughter.
Oi.
Well, I'm trying to hold back laughter as I'm talking about
like
it.
A character,
but just ripping someone a new asshole for taking themselves too seriously. Like, oh, you'd never last 5 seconds. He would
5 seconds.
5 seconds. He would absolutely destroy.
Did you ever see that?
Roster.
Who was homeboy that almost tapped Kurt?
Daniel Puder.
Daniel Puder.
Yeah.
Did you ever see like when he went into the Rumble and Guerrero, Benoit, and was it Holly? Just teamed up on him and just started chopping the shit out of him?
No.
And what's funny is like Puder could have probably kicking the shit out of all three of them, right?
Maybe not Holly. I think Holly
No.
probably kicked the shit out
Oh,
of him.
really? How'd Holly do in the Brawl for All?
Brawl was boxing. Nobody did well in that.
Anyways,
That's funny.
no, I think that Peter guy would probably mop all three of them up because he's a trained fighter.
Yeah.
He's a trained fighter. Listen, I train Muay Thai. I've done sparring with people that are way smaller than me. Guess what happened? Got my ass kicked. Shit happens, man. You train, that's it.
Yeah, that guy got flushed out of the business really quick.
Yeah.
He got I think he just had a really shitty attitude.
Yeah, probably. You got to come in with the right attitude, man. Like, yeah, this is a work. This is sports entertainment. But hey, man, you got to play the game.
Yeah.
That's why they say politics, right? It's politicking.
When your first experience is trying to shoot on Kurt Angle, it's like that's
that is wicked.
That's not going to go well for you.
But but again, no one's smarting him up. Or they weren't trying to smart him up. They were trying to old school it and kick some asses. But that was their fucking fault.
And they didn't tell him, hey, you can't try and sub somebody. Like, apparently, did you ever hear the full story about that with the Pewter and Angle?
Yeah.
Like, Vince just was like, had no idea. Like, hey, man, Kurt's like hurt. Like, his body's beat up. He's been wrestling for at that time probably 8 years.
I think this was before his neck surgery too, so he hadn't even gotten to the worst he was going to get.
And he had to go in there and actually, I heard Vince wanted him to wrestle every contestant first, or wrestle every contestant. Okay, what happens when you get to that seventh contestant?
Right.
And Kurt's blown. But yeah, like Vince wanted him to wrestle everybody, and then he was only supposed to wrestle.
That's bad TV too.
Yeah, he was only supposed to wrestle the one guy, the one guy that actually won the event or whatever. And then when Angle just went off script and challenged, hey, anybody, and that Pewter guy was like, I know my shit.
Yeah.
And went in there and there's a difference between amateur collegiate wrestling and catch wrestling and submission wrestling, because
I still really would have loved to see Kurt like in his prime before he was hurt do UFC. And learn, and just like, because by the time they were talking about him doing it, he was so broken down. I was like, well, it's not going to go well. I mean, but if in his prime he tried,
thank God he didn't.
Well, he would have been probably better off right now if he had done that instead of wrestling.
Possibly.
If instead of going to WWE, he went to UFC. If UFC was more popular back then, that was the problem. It wasn't popular enough back then.
There was no money in it.
There was no money in it. Now, today, that guy is going to UFC probably. There's less work, less toll on your body than wrestling, and you can make a lot more money.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. Just depends. Depends on.
But unless he had a glass jaw, it's one of those things. He could have started training, and they just been like, "Look, you're never gonna make it. You're never gonna make it.
Well,
like if you ever get punched in the face, you're going down."
If it was back in the day, right? So let's say Angle, he
Tito
was like,
Ortiz and
hey,
shit.
here's your choices: WWE or WWF back then, or MMA. Back then, because of where the infancy of MMA, he probably would have done really well. Because the specialists back then could do very well. Hey, I'm not a good striker, but I'm a good wrestler, so I'm going to take your ass down, I'm going to pound you out. And then you start seeing the evolution of MMA. All of a sudden, these one-trick ponies, they don't do so well. You got to be fully, well-rounded. Dude, they got kids now, 16-year-old kids, that are MMA fighters. They're not like, hey, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, I'm a Muay Thai guy, I'm a boxing guy, I'm a kickboxer. They're like, no, they go straight into MMA, which is nuts.
That's terrible.
I think the other problem was his coach was the guy who's at the Foxcatcher gym, and he got killed. So I think that whole thing, if he was alive, I think he might have pushed Kurt to fight.
Oh, really? Kurt was trained by
Kurt was
Mark.
I forget his name, but yeah, Kurt was
Channing Tatum's
Kurt was there.
No, Channing Tatum's. Wait, Channing Tatum.
I'll look it up.
Channing Tatum's brother is the one that got killed in Foxcatcher, right?
The one played by Mark.
I can't remember what his name is.
Quick,
good movie though. You ever seen that?
Oh,
Foxcatcher.
You should watch. Do you ever watch the documentary on Netflix? The documentary. The movie is completely inaccurate if you watch the documentary.
Yeah, I watched the documentary.
Dave was his name. Dave. Damn it. Sorry.
What the fuck is it?
Mark Schultz and Dave Schultz. So Dave Schultz is the one
that got killed.
He was an Olympic gold medal wrestler too, and Kurt was training at the school for the '96 Olympics when all this shit happened.
At the Foxcatcher school?
Yeah, he was there.
Oh, no shit.
Right before Mark Schultz was killed.
Did not know that.
I knew the gal. She was like a personal trainer when people get injured, and like an injury trainer help them through it.
A physical therapist.
Physical therapist at the school that he was. This is back in the day, and he was training. He was also training for the Olympics, but he tore something. I don't know what he was coming back from a surgery, and she helped him through that. She's like, "Oh yeah, we were friends for like a while, like a year or two."
Sweet.
Yeah.
You ever gone to a physical therapist?
No.
Really? I've only had. Well, I've gone twice. Somebody they recommended for my recent injury.
Right.
But by then he didn't tell me anything. My neighbor, who's a physical therapist, already told me.
I went. I talked with the doctor for several times where they've recommended it, and I'm like, well, what are they going to have me do? And they're like, well, they're going to have you like do this workout and this, or at least exercise, not a workout. They're going to have you do this and this. I'm like, I can do that on my own.
Well, it's actually, so I went for when I tore my MCL back in 2015, I went to a physical therapist, and I think her name was T. She was cool. I learned a lot of shit, man. I probably went to more sessions than I needed to because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Dude, turns out I was doing squats all fucking wrong.
Really?
Yeah. As far as like my knees, she's like, no, your knees are kind of supposed to stay in place. They're not supposed to go forward.
Yeah.
They're kind of, and she like, I was like, I've been doing squats for all wrong.
Yeah.
And, she taught me some things and I'm like, this is awesome, man. It almost, you look at physical fitness differently a little bit after you talk to physical trainers, because it ain't about how big and how strong you can get. It's about just having a good, healthy lifestyle,
Well, I think it was a Finn Balor special a couple of years ago on the network when he was talking about him going to the gym, and he was just like, yeah, just whatever I feel like doing when I go in there and I'll do something. Like he's like, I don't do bench press, I don't do any of this. I'll just whatever I feel like doing. Yeah. And then like everything that he did had to do with movements and motion. I'm like, that's probably really smart.
Train for the sport that you're in.
Yep.
There's no reason for a cyclist to be able to like bench 300. Cool. Like that muscle's just gonna suck up oxygen. Like you can't like be carrying that kind of weight around.
But it'd be cool to look at. If you had a cyclist that could bench press 300, you'd be like, that guy. I want him to win.
Did you guys ever see Tour de Pharmacy?
Yes,
on
so
HBO,
good.
or is it on HBO?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that, Adam?
You gotta watch it tonight.
Oh my god!
It's got your boy Cena in it.
It's one of the fun. Do you know what scene I'm talking about?
Funny.
It's the funniest scene I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, with Cena?
Yeah,
absolutely.
If anybody out there, if you haven't seen it, go to HBO. It's called Tour de Pharmacy, and it's got an insane amount of celebrities in this. And it's the Lonely Island guys. It's Andy Sandberg, and like all those cats. But like Dolph Lundgren's in it. Danny Glover's in it. The who's the elf? Orlando Bloom is in it. Dude, it's an insane cast, and it's one of the funniest things you've ever seen. There is a scene with John Cena. John Cena's supposed to be a cyclist, and obviously it was ridiculous because Cena's yoked and cyclists aren't yoked. And I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen it yet, there's one scene with John Cena in it. You will shit yourself laughing.
So funny.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's so fucking funny.
Fun. And how about, I don't want to give it away right now.
Don't do it, because Adam's never seen it. If it wasn't John Cena, would you laugh that hard? Like if it was Tiger, I don't know. Maybe if it was Tiger Woods, it'd be pretty funny too.
Maybe because of the situation, but also Cena sold it well.
Cena is great in comedies. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah,
he was good in the Amy Poehler movie. I forget the name of it, but he's only in that for a little bit. He's very funny in that.
Yeah, man. You have to go. I'm telling you, Adam, you got to watch it. It's on
HBO.
It's if you go on demand. It's also
I have HBO Max.
And then 7 Days in Hell. Did you ever see that one? The tennis one?
No.
It's also done by the Lonely Island guys. So they released this Tour de Pharmacy and 7 Days in Hell around the same time. And like I said, it's both these movies, they're like 45-minute movies, are stacked.
They're so funny.
With celebrities. Stacked. Like, you're like, holy crap, I can't believe they got this person in this movie. And I'm telling you, they're both equally funny as shit. Anyways, was that a question that we told you? What it was?
It was started with the Conor McGregor, and then it went from there.
All right.
But we have a couple more. This is from SoCal Gabe on Instagram.
What up, Gabe?
This one is for El Numero Uno, so I guess this is only a Mike question.
All right.
Cool.
What's the story behind the 50-year storm tee? What's it from? What's it mean?
50-year storm is in Point Break. If you ever seen Point Break, 50-year storm is the wave that Bodhi is searching for, and in the climactic ending, they're fighting. Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze are fighting at Bells Beach, Australia, because that's where the 50-year storm happens every 50 years. It's the biggest surf on the planet. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of a cool name. Somebody, I think Nolan Ryan made that t-shirt design for me. And that's about it, man. Nobody got it, by the way. No one understood it. Nobody ever understood it.
All right, this is the final question we have. This is from Eric Howard on Twitter. What is a band singer your friends like but you can't stand?
Dude, all growing up, all my friends liked so much lame ass music. Like I never got into like that punk like I never got into Lagwagon. I never got into NoFX. I never got into 10-Foot Pole.
Yeah, me neither.
All those types of bands that were huge in Southern California. Yep. I never got into them, and all my friends fucking loved them. And I was like, this music is dog shit. But for some reason, my friends liked it a lot, and I liked like more rap and like heavy metal and stuff like that. But my friends all liked the lamest music.
No, I'm with you. It was the exact same bands that you'd mentioned. I never got into them. I didn't understand why people were so amped about it. Nope. I had people burn me CDs, and I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want it in my. Just check out this song. Yep. And they'd play it for 30 seconds. I'm like, please stop. Please take your hands off my CD player. I don't want this in my car. It's not good.
But so many people loved Pennywise. I fucking hated Pennywise. All their music, every single song sounded like the exact same. It was the exact same. They had Brohem, and I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
like
Brohem is amazing.
That's like a good, like it's a good sing along song.
It's good at sporting events,
but I'm not fucking with it. Like I'm not gonna be playing it on my own.
I hated probably the first year or 2 or 3 that they were out. Angels and Airwaves, fucking hated them. I'm like, this is the worst shit.
I think I liked one of their songs.
I think it was like, it was the same thing. There's like one, but Angels Tom DeLonge, I'm like, dog, stick to your own. Like, stick to the good shit. This is awful. Yeah. This is terrible. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but this is awful. What? And then, like, 5 years later, I caught a CD of them, or like a something on Spotify. You know, like here's something we think you'd like, because you listen to Blink-182 8 hours a day. And so I was like, all right. And I heard a couple songs. This isn't bad. Okay. And now they're like kind of a regular of mine. But I absolutely detested. Like Vitriol, like seeing red when I heard
really?
Angels and Airways. Yeah, God, get this shit out of here.
Travis Barker had a side project with the Rancid Kids.
Oh, yeah.
Gangsters and thugs. Some of my friends, some of my friends sell drugs. Did you ever remember that song? I can't remember what the name of the band was but it was Travis Barker and one of the guys from Rancid. Or something like that.
They've been in. All right, if you take that group, the 3 of those guys, Mark, Tom, and Travis, they've had Boxcar Racer.
Yep.
Plus 44, Blink 182, Angels and Airwaves, and then
the other one. That's a
lot for 3 guys.
For 3 guys, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
We had another question that no one mentioned.
What was that question?
This was where did this one come from? This was shouted out on the Hogsmen Pod and at Hogsmen Pod on Twitter. This was in response to Steel Cage posting our most recent episode. This was Joshua Schlag. He said, "When are the Sticky Hogs shirts going on sale?"
Probably never.
Damn it!
I mean, if you want to make one, go for it.
I don't know how to do that.
Somebody hit me up for a shirt, and they're like, "We can't find it," and I'm like, "Go on Devin's."
So we've been doing this for a year. This podcast,
yeah,
and we've said a year ago that we'll put it on we'll make a tag team.
I never said that.
Okay. I said, let's put together the tag team t-shirt account, and we've just never done it.
I never said that I would do it, and yeah.
But wouldn't that be better? We could have 4 or 5. We could have the Sticky Hogs on there, the Wet Hogs. Maybe not the Wet Hogs. Yeah.
I don't think that, I mean... If somebody out there in the world can create a shirt or a logo for Sticky Hogs, and they want to send it to Devin or I mean, I'll toss you $40 for it.
And that goes with the Sticky Bandits theme from
Home Alone.
Home
2.
Alone. That's This
Lost
isn't
in New York.
Yeah, exactly. Those are all the questions we had?
That's it.
That's a lot of questions.
Well, let's talk about next week. What are we doing next week?
I don't know, Dev. What are we doing?
Well, Hogscast, I'm moving to San Jose for a couple of months. I don't know how long specifically, but at least 3 months. And I don't know what's happening after that, if I'll be back in San Diego or where I'll end up. So it's probably going to be San Diego. But for at least 3 months, we are, I don't know, under new management. Well, same management, just new co-host or something.
The podcast will continue. It'll just be different people every week.
It's going to be NWO Red and Black.
Yeah, you can do the actually you can do the red and black.
I'll do red and black,
and I'll do the white and black. That was way cooler.
Yeah, but you're gonna be white and black with like Brutus Beefcake in there, and like it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good white and black.
But you get to be the Wolfpack.
That's pretty sweet.
And are you gonna use the Wolfpack music?
I think I'll have to.
If you ever do like a thing where you send in like a voice memo like Duke does, if you do that, I'll put the Wolfpack theme in the background for you.
Mine is just going to end up being from the land of the rising sun. It's me. And then I'll just go into the weekly podcast. What are you doing for the intro now?
I don't know. I'll figure out something.
Throw your pre-recorded one in there every week.
Jesus.
There you go.
Well, we'll have someone else do it. Maybe Duke will.
That would be hilarious if you did your podcast and I did my podcast and we just kept it on the same I don't know, whatever the fuck you call it, host or what?
Yeah. Devin's episode, Mike's episode.
Oh, Mike would never miss a week. We know that.
Well, you wouldn't either if it was through Zoom.
Yeah.
All you'd have to do is call me and you could just talk.
If only all the people on this show wanted to do it through Zoom.
I don't like doing Zoom.
I know.
It just, I'm sorry. Like I have to be in person.
Going into business for himself.
I've done plenty of Zoom podcasts and it's fine, but I need to be.
Speaking of which, I saw your video on the SoCal Pro Wrestling podcast.
Yeah,
that was good.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
The
clip.
Yep. That's finally on YouTube.
Yep.
If anybody wants to go check that out.
Speaking of which, you can find us on YouTube.
It's just me burying myself.
Yeah, I talking about how you couldn't. You don't know if you're training people right. And,
dude, I don't. Like, do you feel comfortable training people?
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, I always like. Okay, there's like the stuff that I do know, right?
Right.
And then there's like people that like, I'll have some kids be like, hey, or I'm like, hey, does anybody want to practice anything? Anybody, try something out? And I remember one kid was like, I want to work on my satellite DDT. And I was like, get the fuck out of the ring.
Yeah, I would have probably said the same thing.
Because I was like, I don't do satellite DDTs. I don't really, I don't know, like, it's not my thing. Sometimes I'm like, hey, ask Benny, like to show you that, because I don't do that move. I don't know how to fucking really, pull it off, and
For me, what bugs the shit out of me is like, I used to be really technically sound, and like for training, I would do training days where like I'm just gonna do hold to hold and chain wrestle with. There's 4 people here. I'm gonna chain wrestle with each of them for a half hour. And then when I'm done, I'll go home. And then the next day, maybe I'd work on spots. And then the next day I'm coming in. I'm like, all right, there's one person here. I just want to chain for an hour. Mm-hmm. Let's do a chain. I used to be great at it. And now it's like, if you put me in the ring with someone, me and you'll go on there. And I'm like, can we just do this for like 20 minutes? You're like, no, get the fuck out of here. Let's run some spots and shit. I'm like, can we just keep doing Can we just keep chaining? Like, I want to get it back. But it's one of those things. It's like Spanish. Like, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school and 2 years in college. Like, I have a degree that says that I could speak Spanish at a business level. No fucking way.
Really?
No fucking way. I could listen to you talk and I go, what did he say? And I could go, well, he kind of said this, but I don't know if he said he did it before or was going to do it in the future. Yeah. I can't tell you if he was lying. Like, if he was, you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell if he used certain phrases in there that don't make sense because I kind of get it. But now it's the same thing with like chain wrestling and hold to hold. I'm like, yeah, I remember it. But like no one does it. It has been so long since
perishable skills.
It's true. It really is.
I mean, it's funny because like, so last week I went in Thursday night and then that was the first time I've been in the ring in like 3 weeks because the 2 following weeks were New Year's and then Christmas, and then I think I wanted to go do something else that Thursday night. I think I wanted to go like train Muay Thai or something like that. But I was like, I haven't been in the ring in 3 weeks, and I'm like, I don't even know if I remember how to wrestle. That's always my thought process is I don't know if I know how to wrestle. Right. And then I get in the ring and I go, oh, that's right, I can.
That's right.
But that's the thing, man. I don't go into when it's my night to train. I'm using air quotes. I don't have a plan. I just get in there and I go, okay, guys, let's just kind of warm up. Let's roll around, and we'll just fucking see where this goes. We'll just see where this goes.
I hate training with more than like 4 people.
Really?
Yeah, because to me it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like you go in there, you do it. Let's say you do it wrong, and then you're the one who's doing it for the next 15 minutes while everyone watches, and then they get their turn again. All right, on to a new drill. And I've always hated it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. That to me is what I always felt like I'm losing it. When I was first starting to train, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I'll remember that. I did it twice. Like, I was told I did okay. If I do it again, I don't know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, I remember back in the day. Yeah, some nights it'd be like 12 people training, and you're just lined up waiting for your turn, and the more people, the less time you got. I actually I'm trying to get Nestor, SoCal Crazy, my lucha trainer. I want him to show up one night at Level Up to train my nights, or I want to bring him
so
in
you can take
on my
the night off. Well,
so I can, because to train lucha.
Yeah.
I don't train lucha. I know a little bit of it, but I don't. It's not something I feel comfortable like 100% training.
Right.
And like Nestor's a really good lucha trainer, and I'd love for him to come in and kind of show the kids some lucha, because I remember he did the same thing. He brought in one of his lucha trainers, a dude from TJ. I think his name was Pandalero, whatever gangster is in Spanish. I think it's Pandalero or something like that. But this guy was amazing. He must have been in his 50s, and this guy killed it. And we were doing shit where I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but okay. We were doing like front handsprings off of people's backs that are like standing. It's nuts, man. It was a really good experience.
I don't know when the last time you trained with Kid is, but that guy is such a good person to train with and learn shit from and pick shit up from. Like, he is just constantly evolving.
Kid's a very well-traveled wrestler.
I mean, I think if he was bodied up, he'd be signed 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Even as young as he is, if he was bodied up, I don't think there's anyone that wouldn't sign him. He's so fucking good.
Kid, a cycle won't kill you.
That's the guy I was going to ask you. Is he the youngest guy you've trained with?
Well, so when Kid came back, I think he was already like 21.
Yeah.
So I wasn't there when Kid was training when he was like 15.
When did you start training?
I started training at SoCal Pro in June of 2013.
When did he start?
A few years earlier than that, because he was like,
I do remember him.
He was
around.
like 15 or 16.
Wasn't Kid at New Wave?
He was a New Wave. That's how I remember him, but I didn't know when that was. He was
14.
like,
I've seen like old like pictures and promo pictures.
Oh, he's
of
a child.
Kid. Oh, he it looks like an elementary school kid wrestling.
Yeah. That was one of the first times where I heard people have qualms about selling for someone.
Oh, because he was so young?
Was Kid. Like, dude, I don't think we should be selling for him. I don't think we should be taking his moves.
Which is weird, because TJ started training when he was 15 too. And people probably trained a lot with him.
Well, I don't know. San Diego's a different market.
Well, that's the problem. Like, hey, man, okay, you have a problem selling for him. Do you have a problem registering? Do you have a problem registering a punch? Like, oh, I just got punched in the face.
Right.
Okay, cool. I just got kicked in the face. Okay, I'm going to register that. Hey, I just got punched in the face again, and I just got kicked again. Okay, now I can start selling. That's
right. But I think what in addition to that, this is around the time when everyone was like, "Well, you shouldn't be able to whip me into the ropes." Like, there's no way you should be able to whip me.
Like size wise.
Yeah, and also like you would never be able to scoop slam me. Like, that doesn't make sense because he was really tiny. I mean, he must have been 100 pounds.
Well, there's guys like that on the scene, and I mean, that's kind of what I think is if you're a small guy, right, and you 100% know almost every match you're going into, you're going to be the small guy.
Right.
You got to learn how to work like a small guy.
Right.
Why are you doing power bombs? Because you're only 5 foot tall. You know, like that's
Gotta pop the crowd.
That's not a devastating move. But if it's coming from a guy like Kevin Nash, it's a devastating move. You guys, I'm telling you, you got to see Kevin Nash in person. He's the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life. So tall. And then I can only imagine taking a jackknife from him. Like, that's a long ways down. Long ways down. So, I mean, I can understand that. You know, like, understand who you are. Understand who you are. Are you the biggest guy? No. Okay, well, then you can't really wrestle like a big guy, right? I don't know.
Who was it that Nash dropped on his head? Was it Giant?
Yeah, Big Show.
Oh, God. I in my head, I was just picturing him dropping someone right on their head, and it was terrible, terrifying.
And also, if you're like, say, like you start wrestling at 16, right? Get that experience.
I almost did. I wrestled at 17.
Well, exactly. Get that experience of learning how to wrestle like a little guy.
Yeah.
You know, having to work from underneath. You know, like really fight to get that comeback, and you know, get an advantage.
Right.
And then when your body grows and you hit the gym and maybe do a cycle or two, I don't know. You know, your morals are yours, not mine.
My body.
Then
my
you
choice.
get to learn how to work like a big guy, and then you can show other guys like, hey, this is how you work as a little guy. Because I had that experience too. You know, like when I was younger, I was small. I had to work from underneath. But then, hey, man, I grew up a little bit.
The problem is there's not enough like camps. You know what I mean? Like, I think Carlo Cannon was doing it out in Australia, where this is where you come home to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do your job still, but there's a dorm here for you guys, and you're going to train, and you're going to learn, and you're going to live it, and you're going to love it. But part of that is you're going to learn how to work out right. You're going to learn how to eat right. You're going to learn how to set up the ring and all that shit, and take care of yourself and take care of your body, because that's the problem, right? With places nowadays, you go home, and then what?
Yeah.
You got to check in. Hey, did you work out? Well, I would have, but I worked the night shift now, and I wasn't able to work out. So you want to be a wrestler, you're not working out.
Yep.
Okay. Well, you got to be putting on mass. What'd you have for breakfast? I skipped breakfast. Cool. What'd you have for lunch? I had a Pepsi and some hot Cheetos.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, then,
Yep. Well, listen, man. You can't want it more for somebody else than they want it.
Right.
So I tell these kids that I train with, like, hey, are you going to the gym? Are you working out? And a lot of times you hear like, oh no, like I'm not. And it's like, well, this isn't enough, bro. Just coming into training 2-3 times a week for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and maybe not even a solid 2 hours or hour and a half because there's other people here. I think really what you have to do when you're a professional wrestling school is find out why is everybody here? Hey guys, listen, no fault, no big deal. If you're here just to be a little weekend warrior, tell your friends that you're a professional wrestler, have your friends and family show up and watch you wrestle, that's cool, man. Just raise your hand. Let me know that. Okay, cool. Now, who's the people that really want to put some effort in this? They want to go all the way to the top. They want to, travel the world. They want to become a professional wrestler. That's how they want to make their money and their life and their career out of. Raise your hands. Okay, cool. Separate. And we're going to go from here.
You just changed my mind on something.
What's that?
I've had my mindset for years on this, and I've been of the same mindset until just now. I have always thought it was predatory for wrestling companies to charge someone, it's $2,000 to train here, upfront, cash, and then it's unlimited. You can come as many times as you want. We train twice a week. You can come to both trainings for the year, right? Whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's $2,000 up front, foot in the door. I always thought that was super predatory. Like, dude, that's fucked up, man. First of all, people training for wrestlers, they ain't got that kind of money. Like a gym membership. Like, I think it's same as a gym membership. If you're paying, $50 a week or whatever the case is, like, okay, $200 a month, that sounds about right. But I mean, you have to look at it as a trainer. And you're saying you can't want it more than someone else. Like, how many people have to walk through the door and be like, why do I want it more? Why do I want it more for you than you want it for you? How many times do I have to tell you to go to the gym? Yep. How many times do I have to tell you to eat right? Like, how many times do I have to tell you that you need to find a balance between protein and carbs and trim, fucking sugars out of your diet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that just completely, it changed my mind right now. Like, the caring and shit that's involved. Like if you want to take it seriously, I feel like that's kind of, you pay that money up front. You would figure out a way to take it serious because you've already paid the money.
Yeah. No, man, you got to make yourself look like a star. Bottom line is you got to make yourself look like a star. You got to get in shape. You got to be tanned, right? Tan fat looks better than pale fat, brother.
That's true. Dan taught me that.
Big
Duke.
You got to make it.
He was making fun of me.
What's the one
though.
thing that you have control over? Your body, right? You have control over your body. Well, I don't have money for a gym membership. That's cool. That's fine. No problem. Can you do push-ups? Can you air squats? Can you, run?
You can do dips on your bathtub.
Can you find a set of stairs that you can run up and down a whole bunch of times? Is there a hill that you can run up and down a whole bunch of times? It's all on you. And anybody that says, "Oh, well, I don't have a gym membership," that's fine. There's plenty of people that can get in good shape without having a gym. They find other ways to do it.
Right.
So,
oh shit.
What's that?
Forgot your weights. I'm gonna give them to Adam.
Oh, okay. They'll be fun. They'll do fine up in San Jose. I'm guessing.
No. I'll give them to Adam. He'll bring them to you.
But yeah, man, you can't want it more than somebody wants it for themselves. So whenever I see that kind of stuff, I just tell the person like, "Hey, you should be doing this," but I'm not gonna
right.
I'm not gonna get on your ass. I'm looking out for myself. Hey, man, you don't want to get in shape. You don't want to train. You don't want to do all that stuff. That's cool, man. Better opportunity for me.
Right.
Because, this is competitive. This is competitive. We both know this is competitive. Every person that drops out, cool, man. Less competition for me.
Right.
And I'm not saying that in a malicious way. It's the truth, right? Everybody that steps in through the pro wrestling school doors, they might take your spot somewhere down the line, right? And hey, man, I'll help you be a pro wrestler. I'll be positive and try and help you out the best I can. But if you fall off, that's on you, and I'm not going to be too disappointed about it.
Right.
It sounds selfish, and it kind of is, but hey, man,
it's not. It's a
selfish business.
It's a selfish business.
But it's not selfish because you have to look at it through not rose. This is one of those businesses where rose-colored glasses don't do you any good. You know what I mean? Some places it pays to be pie in the sky and a big dreamer. But part of wrestling is if you're going to have that big dream, you got to do that work day in, day out, every minute of every day, eat, sleep, breathe it.
Here's something too that I've really noticed, and you're living it, Dev. So you started wrestling at 17 years old,
right?
And your responsibilities at 17 were yourself, and I.
Mm-hmm.
But that's you saying that. So you, yourself, and yourself. Then you grow up. Well, maybe you went to college, right?
Right.
Okay, you got a little bit of college,
yeah.
But hey, you're still handling it.
Right.
You're balancing wrestling in school. And then all of a sudden you meet a little lady, a little filly.
Yep.
And you get married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, she's supportive.
Mm-hmm.
But that supportiveness, is that a real word?
Yeah.
Supportiveness. It's got a lifespan.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're gone a lot. And she wants to know, hey, where are you? I'm home. I'm home by myself.
Oh, and then she's home with the kid.
Oh, and now she's home with the kid.
Yeah.
So everything you bring into your life, it's one more obstacle that you got to hurdle over or try to somehow work your way around or balance with wrestling. Right?
And then if you're the shits on top of it, good luck.
Yeah. But you look at a lot of these guys that made it all the way to the top.
Oh yeah.
They sacrificed. They missed,
absolutely.
They missed birthdays. They missed weddings. They missed funerals. They missed family gatherings. They
broke off relationships.
Maybe they had a girlfriend, but the girlfriend didn't understand how much time it took for somebody to become make a big name for themselves in professional wrestling. So they had to separate with that girl because it just wasn't working out. And
even though they might have been a great match, but they couldn't get over that one thing. Yeah, exactly. I've seen that happen.
That's the thing when you talk about sacrificing, that's the real sacrifices. And you know what? They sacrificed by having to go to the gym instead of going to a friend's house to hang out and have fun.
Yeah, or go to training instead of go to a bar, meet up with a friend.
Exactly, man.
Same shit.
It's and it's like that way in all athletics, right? If you want to be a professional football player, you're working your fucking ass off.
It's two jobs, man. People that have two jobs understand it, and if you don't treat it like a job, you're not going to reap the rewards. You're not going to get that paycheck.
Yep.
So when your 9 to 5 is done, okay, time for the gym, time for wrestling training, eat, sleep. That's part of it.
And I always say, man, you got to go find opportunity because opportunity is not going to come looking for you.
Right.
You need to go out and look for it. So, all right. There's our advice for this episode, Dev.
That's it. That's the end of Hogsmen Black and White. We'll see you next week for Hogsmen Red and Black.
The red and black, the wolf pack.
The wolf pack is back. The hog pack.
The hogs pack?
Hogs pack, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Hogs pack is back.
All right, man.
All right.
Dev, I'll see you in a few months.
I'll see you then.
I'm sure I'll keep in contact. I'm sure we'll fucking Zoom once in a while.
I'll
fucking Zoom with you, but not every fucking week.
All right. If Hollywood comes up at the end of the month, we'll be on that. Or next month, I guess. Now it's already middle of January. Jesus.
Who knows? Who knows what's going on in this world? Wild. Anyways, what else? Dev, do you have any other parting words until you come back?
I have nothing to say to these fucking people.
Did you get a haircut?
I did get a haircut.
Fucking high and tight.
I know. I didn't realize that...
Devin's been wearing a beanie and a hoodie this whole time.
I didn't realize that barbers was shut down. I called my barber before I was leaving town. I'm like, hey, let me get a haircut. He's like, bro, where have you been? Everything is shut down. You can't go to a barber. So he had to do a house call outside. He's like, that's the only way I'm allowed to work. I'll do a house call outside. Okay.
I did not know that because I haven't been to a hairstylist, hair cutter, barber in over 2 years.
There is a barber shop near my house that has been open this entire time.
Really?
It is also open at 3 a.m, so I am 90% positive that it is not actually a barber shop.
Dealing drugs out the back.
There's a guy that sits outside, and whenever you pull up to the places next to it, he stares at you in a very menacing way. So, very convinced if you want to buy some drugs, I can let you know where this place is, and
just trying to figure out
you
who's
can figure
who.
it out.
Hey, if you... quick question before we head out. I have a question for you.
No.
You're opening up your own wrestling school,
Yeah.
right? You want it to be kind of smarky. You want the insiders to get the joke. How do you like the sound of the barbershop window?
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Kinda
What would you
funny.
call yours if you could name one, something wrestling related? Ode to the past.
Ode to the past. Let's see. That's not a bar. What is it called?
The barbershop window.
The barbershop window pro wrestling school.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. I like that.
All right. Cool.
Um,
I just wanted to make sure that he was on board with that.
let's see. Gas to the Gills Pro Wrestling.
Oh, gas to the gills.
Gas to the Gills, brother.
That's another stigma that I think needs to go away too.
Steroids. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about steroids.
It's so misleading, the information about steroids.
Bring it back to baseball. God, just fucking home runs left and right. Oh, well, that's for another episode.
All right. Well, we'll get you next time. At Hogsmen Pod, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Where can they find that Hogsman shirt?
Oh, ProWrestlingTees.com / Devin. Oh, American Kaiju.
I think it's American Kaiju.
It is American Kaiju. I stole it. It's mine.
Cool, man. And then you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a whole bunch of other platforms.
YouTube.
And YouTube now. And then
Steel Cage
Radio. Cool, man. Well, Dev,
You think Derek will still put this show on Steel Cage Radio, even though Devin's gone?
Yeah, easily. And
We're their moneymaker.
Dev, I'll see you when you get back.
All right.
Once in a while.
All right. I mean, you and I could just FaceTime.
No, I'm cool with that. All right, man. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Dev, if they want the tip, what do they got to do?
They got to take the whole hog.
Adios.